It is a nightmare scenario that we wouldn't want any parent to go through. For a child to go missing, not know if he or she is hurt, or worse. Thousands of kids are reported missing every year, but thankfully a vast majority are safely and quickly returned home. Some attempt to run away, but soon return back home. Others go through a nasty divorce, and a parent fearing they will lose their child snatch them and are returned shortly. Some aren't really missing as it turns out, a twist of fate and miscommunication between a parent and caregiver. A tragic few though are never seen or heard from again. These cases are the ones that haunt everyone involved, starting with the parents, and then the detectives that are frantically searching for the children, then the public that are hoping and praying for good news. These cases aren't an everyday thing, but they strike fear in mothers and fathers everywhere. If you don't know this child's name, I am surprised. Aiden Patz is one of the first children who had their face printed on milk carton. It was thought that this would be a helping hand to the media outlets, considering almost everyone bought milk. Aiden's story began back in 1979, as he walked to catch his school bus. This is when he just vanished without a trace. It breaks your heart to realize this boy was only 6 years old when he disappeared. His body or him have never been found. This story hit the headlines almost 40 years ago, but it took till early this year to bring someone to justice for his killing. After 2 trials with the first ending in a hung jury, a man named Pedro Hernandez actually confessed. So, we guess he figured that he was going to be in a lot more trouble or something. He decided to recant his story. Throughout the rest of his trials he maintained his innocence. He was apparently friends with Aiden's babysitter. Hernandez is now facing 25 years to life. This next story sounds like something made for NCIS or CSI, as poor Kieran Horman at the tender age of 7 years old was dropped off at school by his stepmother Terry Horman. So, in June 2010 he was all excited as he was taking part in a science fair that day. Now this is where it gets crazy. Kieran was spotted several times that day throughout school, but he didn't make it to his homeroom. Towards the end of the school day the hunt was on for Kieran. This search would become one of Oregon's largest in its history. Terry, Kieran's stepmom, has maintained that she had nothing to do with the child's disappearance, so much so that she has went on TV several times to proclaim her innocence. Now this is where in our opinion things seem to get kind of suspicious. Kieran's biological parents seem to think Terry knows more than she is saying. Kieran's mom, Desiree Young, and dad Kane Horman said Terry has failed multiple lie detector tests. Now this is the real fishy part. Kane the father also said that Terry had a plot to murder him also. Could this be a gruesome way for the father to get out of a marriage? Or a way for the parents to get money? I have no idea if there was an insurance policy or if the biological parents had it out for Terry. But why would the father allow his child to go anywhere with a woman he thought was going to attempt to kill him? All of these stories are sad on their own, but it can be even worse than the stories I already have told you. When one child goes missing, your world feels ripped apart. I can only imagine if 2 of your children disappeared together. This story is exactly that. Very upsetting and terrifying to me and other parents. The Lyon sisters was Sheila, who was just 12 years old, and Catherine just 10 when they set off for a fun day at the mall. This was in 1975 and things were a tad bit more relaxed back then. The girls were spotted multiple times within the mall. One kid at the mall even told police there was a man staring intently at the 2 young ladies. Despite a huge search and a widespread investigation at the time, none of the many leads actually got law enforcement anywhere. The girls were never found. So jump ahead to 2013, some detectives in the Washington, D.C. area took a fresh look at the now 41-year-old case. What is crazy is they possibly cracked the case. Law enforcement now believe a man by the name Lloyd Welch abducted and killed the girls, with the help of his uncle. Welch is set to go to trial in Virginia later this year for their murder.